All right, how's it going, everyone? Luke Dollar 23 here, and what I've got for you today is the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. PS5 accessories dropped a little bit ahead of the console by a couple weeks, and curiosity got the best of me and had to pick one of these up. Do have one pre-order. Hopefully, it doesn't get canceled. So I figured this would be useful to have another controller for two players and everything like that. So I went ahead and picked one up just because I had to check out how it felt, what it looked like, everything like that. And on top of that, heard that it works on PC. So went ahead and got that connected so I can test out this controller now. We won't be able to check out any of the PS5 exclusive features like the adaptive triggers or the haptic feedback from the Rumble. So have to wait until November 12th to try that out. So as you can see here, and got a little hotel set up working remotely for work right now on a remote assignment. But what I've got with me is my gaming laptop, and then I actually brought my preferred controller, the Razer Wolverine Tournament Edition, excuse me. So over the past couple of years, mainly been gaming on the Xbox One X and PC. So this has been my go-to controller. So I'm not going to be able to compare it to a normal DualShock 4 or a normal Xbox One controller, but I've got this here with me. But I can at least talk my experience with all those controllers. So first thing, the controller definitely has some heft to it. It's a little bit heavier than recent controllers, which I think I prefer. It's nice to feel that in your hand. Now when it comes to mice, like my Rocat Cone Ultra here, I want a very lightweight mouse, but when it comes to a controller, I think you want some heft there. It's a very nice looking controller, nice color. I don't know if it's really going to come through here, but I know this was a very divisive controller upon the reveal, but in hand, I think it looks really great. Gotta love that USB-C. One interesting thing I've noticed is it feels like the controller is a little more like spread out. It's like a little bit wider when you're holding it with both your hands versus you feel like your hands are a little cramped together on here. Now, that may be, I don't remember if the DualShock 4 was like that too. I haven't used that as heavily in a while, like I said. But versus Xbox, your hands feel a little bit more spread out, which I think is more ergonomic, going to be more comfortable long term, which is nice. Analog sticks, of course, everyone's got their preferred layout of different layers or on the same layer here. But what I will say is the grip right here is very, very dense grip pattern compared to this here. And I think this is similar to what a normal Xbox One is. So definitely like that. Now, if Control Freak comes out with attachments here, and they should, since this is the primary Sony controller, definitely going to be picking up like a taller one for the right stick. That's the one downside of the Razers. The Xbox Control Freaks don't actually fit on the analog sticks. Buttons feel very nice and responsive. I would say that they're better than PS4, and PS4 was fine. I didn't notice any issues. When it comes to the base Xbox, I've had multiple controllers for Xbox One, just normal Microsoft ones, where I felt like the buttons, like the A button, just stuck. And that's actually one thing that moved me to this Razer one is these have like very fast clicky buttons. Obviously, this isn't going to be as fast and clicky as that, but it's still good. So these are super, super fast, but also loud, which, pros and cons. D-pad feels very good. I would say that from the base controllers, the DualShock 4 was kind of my holy grail when it comes to D-pads, and I think this feels a little bit better. I was not a fan of the base Xbox D-pad, and that's another reason I went to this Razer Wolverine is how fast and responsive this one felt. So D-pad and buttons in here are faster and clickier, which you would expect from a pro controller. And then this is probably the height of normal controller buttons, I would say. You can see here the PlayStation logo button is shaped like the actual logo, not a circle, so that's kind of cool. Triggers feel fine. Haven't been able to really test those out at all in terms of the actual adaptive features. You're probably not going to be able to see this on the camera, but the tiny little dots that are the grip are actually very, very microscopic PlayStation symbols. So that's kind of cool. So I think that's the main comparisons to the DualShock 4 and Xbox controllers, which again, this isn't the base Xbox controller. This is my Razer one that I brought with me. So let's get right into it and try this out. So the controller does work with PC. You got to go through a couple steps. So first you got to go to your settings, controller settings, general. I had to go in here and actually, because it's not going to show it, but you have to go in and actually set every single button to what it relates to. And then for each game you want to play, you got to set it to force the Steam input. I forget exactly what it's called. Force input per game settings. So you got to change this to forced on in each game you want to play. So let's load up Talos Principle. This loads pretty fast, so this will be a good example. Show it as best I can with the one-handed setup. And there you have it. So it works. So that's the DualSense for PlayStation 5.